We like a good sensible estate car here at Motorpoint, and for good reason, because you often get a bigger boot, better driving experience and better fuel economy than you would in the equivalent SUV. Sadly though, it seems that a lot of car buyers don't agree with us, because estate cars only make up 4% of the UK market. Madness! Clearly though, there is still a market demand for estate cars, because when Volvo tried to drop this, the V60, in 2023, there was enough of an outcry that Volvo put it back onto UK price lists in summer 2024. Now, Volvo has been selling the V60, apart from when it wasn't, since 2018, and over the years there have been various different trim and engine options. Of those, the diesels were probably the pick of the bunch. Sadly, they're not making those anymore, and they were pretty rare anyway. The rest of the V60 lineup consists of a variety of turbocharged petrols, some with mild hybrid assistance, none of which are particularly interesting. Then there are a couple of plug-in hybrids, which are quite a lot more powerful and did very well as new car sales thanks to the benefits for company car owners. This is one of those plug-in hybrids, and we will talk about the pros and cons of that drivetrain later. For now, we're going to focus on what is common across all V60s, and we shall start with this beautifully proportioned styling. It's a sort of a sensible kind of beauty. This car's closest rivals include the Mercedes C-Class, BMW 3 Series Touring and Audi A4 Avant. Now, it may not have the road presence of some of those cars, but it certainly is a lot more elegant. Okay, in inscription model, which this one is, having fussy alloys and chrome bits everywhere probably doesn't show it in its best light, but if you look at some more recent models without all that chrome, it looks even better. Inside, the V60 is very pleasant. There's just something very settling and calming in the way Volvo does interiors. It feels restrained and minimalist, and somehow manages to give off more of a chilled vibe than its German rivals. You've also got these truly excellent seats, which have got plenty of movement and adjustment. They are super supportive and comfortable. On a long journey, I can't think of any that would be much better. The overall sense of build quality is perhaps a bit better in an Audi or BMW, but you certainly feel a clear cut above the mainstream inside a V60. One thing that isn't a cut above is the tech. This screen, for example, is 9 inches, which is quite small, and the system is quite glitchy and difficult to navigate. Newer systems are just better. Also, the climate controls are in the touch screen as opposed to being physical buttons, but at least there is always a shortcut visible so you can easily access them. It's also worth noting now that newer V60s have a newer operating system which is Google based, unlike this older Census system. That's what it's called, Census. It's not as good. Now I'm in the back and it is slightly less plush than it is in the front. However, you do get more space back here than you would if you were in a Mercedes C-Class or BMW 3 Series Touring. Now, if you want even more space than this, you'll have to go for a Skoda Superb or a Volkswagen Passat. And it's worth noting that this transmission tunnel is awfully intrusive. If you were sitting in this middle seat and you wanted to put your feet somewhere, I love the fact that it suggests that this is like a floor mat, that you're actually going to put your feet on it. But look at this, right? I mean, if I was 6, that might be quite comfortable, but I'm not 6 and it isn't comfortable. Back here, we have got 529 litres of space, and for reasons best known to packaging engineers, newer V60s have 519 litres of space. Either way, it's more than you'll find in the 500 litres of the BMW 3 Series Touring and the 490 litres of the Mercedes C-Class estate. And something that I really like about how thoughtful Volvo engineers are, look at that. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need to access what's under the boot floor, you can just clip this up like that. And if you're not naturally tidy, but you want to fool people into thinking you are, no, that didn't go very well. Watch this. Ta-da! I love it. Now, I promised earlier that I would talk a little more about the drivetrain. Most of your options are fairly simple turbocharged petrols or diesels, but the T6 and T8 plug-in hybrids are a little more exotic. Their power is boosted by a turbocharger and a supercharger and electric power. And if that sounds unnecessarily complex, well, it kind of is. It all works, but the various ways that the engine and the electric motor put their power together isn't always quite as seamless as you'd hope. And while the 8-speed auto is super smooth, it doesn't always respond all that quickly to your demands. There's plenty of performance, but it doesn't seem all that enthusiastic about delivering it. When there's 340 horsepower available and a 0 to 60 time of just 5.4 seconds, that seems a bit of a shame. If you'd like a smoother plug-in hybrid, then a BMW 330e might suit you better. And if more power is what you're after, then you could look for a T8 version. This is the T6 version. In the T8, you get 449 horsepower. Is it worth it? Well, for bragging rights, maybe. That's because the T6 suits the V60's relaxed character. Drive it at a chilled cruise rather than with manic enthusiasm, and the four-wheel drive gives you reassuring grip, while the slightly less than talkative steering and occasionally indecisive drivetrain isn't an issue. Treat a V60 like this and it can be a remarkably soothing car to while away the miles in. The non-plug-in hybrids feel a little less reassuring when it comes to grip, thanks to no four-wheel drive, and they're not as punchy as the plug-in hybrids. However, they do offer decent fuel economy, especially if you go for one of the diesels. Talking of economy, if you can regularly charge up your T6 or T8, you can get decent MPG, but expect around 35 to 40 miles per gallon once the battery is exhausted in the T6 and 30 to 35 in the T8. As for what sort of electric range you might get, that depends on how old your V60 is and how you drive it. So early ones like this with a smaller battery had an official range of 21 miles. You're likely to be getting about 12 to 15 from that one. And if you go for a newer one with a larger battery that has a claimed range of 50 miles, you're looking at about 35 to 40 mile range. Overall, the V60 is a very likeable car. It's superbly easy to live with, it's good looking without being gaudy, and it offers the sort of practicality that you want from a smallish family estate car. Is it the best premium estate car to drive? No, that would be a BMW 3 Series, but for the 95% of the time that you're not on an empty country road, is it the better car to live with day to day? It's a very good question. What do you think?